now may I invite Mr. Alex Hulka to give his presentation.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very honored to be here, and I'm even more honored, perhaps, to say, by the selected group of people who have come to this conference. After listening the rich and very illustrative presentations by my colleagues, I think what I would like to invite you is a reflection on the scope and the time frame of the impacts of climate change in cities, but also in the rest of the country in general. I think we have to realize that we are at the start of the manifestations of climate change impact, but it's not yet the way, the total long scope that we have in the future. First one. Okay. So I would like to invite you to see first that a little introduction on the concepts. When we are talking about this type of manifestations of climate change, which is called in many cases disasters related, we are talking about three elements: vulnerabilities, resilience, and natural hazards. So what we need to improve is the resilience of the structures, infrastructures, etc. The next one. So based on these basic three concepts, we have to see what is the manifestations of climate change, the actual and potential ones that would come in the future. Some of these are related to the libraries, collections, but some of them, at least, we didn't capture yet as experience. I have read some material in which it mentions that in Europe, the manifestations of climate change have also affected libraries and other infrastructures, and the manifestation has been even worse than the ones that we have listened. So the thing to understand here is that climate change has diverse enablers, diverse forms of natural hazards. It's not only flooding, it's also precipitation, that heavy precipitations, it's also the erratic weather from too hot or too cold, which also affect the collections, but also is heat waves, droughts. So all these elements, when they are compiled together, and when in the future hits our infrastructures, that is what we have to be prepared for. The next one, please. This is a map of hazards incidents in the last 20 years for different countries and for different regions and countries. And the first two columns is about droughts, the number of droughts. Then you have extreme temperatures, could be too hot or too cold. And the next one is floods, and the next one is storms. You can see there the United States is in the first case and in the last case on droughts and storms is among the first ones, even above the poorest countries, which are located as least developed countries, the ones that have DATs. So United States is not only a country that has been hit hard by the Sandy, for example, as my colleagues have manifested, but also is a country that has more number of disasters or manifestations of the natural hazards. So that's why our infrastructures are more vulnerable. The next one, please. So coming back now to New York City. We are talking now a probability of a 100-year flood once every 80 years today. But the data has been all the time this increasing the risk. So that means that maybe in 5 years we could have 100-year flood once every 60 years. So that is the incremental risk and intensity of the manifestations of climate change. Some of the potential impacts has to do in all these different structures, infrastructures. It's not only buildings, but also is the heating systems, is the electricity systems, and the transportation systems, and so on. So, since we don't want to have a doom scenario, but rather to find ways, strategies on how to fix in the long term, how to increase the resilience, not for the next 5 years, but for longer periods, and to have an idea how much would cost that in terms of material resources, but also in terms of human resources, capacities. I have to give you an idea of the scope of the adaptation. We need an adaptation infrastructure that we have to discuss publicly. If we want for 50 years, for 500 years, what is our resources that we have? For example, in Netherlands or in England, they have been constructing adaptation to the sea level rise, potential sea level rise for 100 years, for 500 years, and even I think now is in London is for 1,000 years. So this is the kind of scope that we have to see the long term. Perhaps we have been too comfortable on thinking in a short term. You know, when Keynes wrote the book to put us out from unemployment, he was thinking in the short term how to put the people to work. But now this issue of climate change, which is different, of course, from an economic crisis, but this is a climate crisis. And the scope that we have to think is even longer. That's why it involves us, but our also next generations to come. And that's why it also requires a different strategy, a more integrative strategy, a much more coordinated strategy, not only at the local level, but at the state and the country level and the global level. I'm glad we are at the UN for this type of challenge. So the scope of adaptation also, I mentioned some of them here, the retrofitting of buildings, structures, and heating systems, the improved transportation systems, and the link of these transportation systems in an integrative way, as I mentioned, you know, the parks that you could walk, sidewalks, better sidewalks. I have 2 kids in New Hampshire in a town called Keene. There is no sidewalks to walk there. When the car drivers, they see you, that you are jogging or walking, they see you as like a strange person. Why you don't use a car to go from 5 blocks or 10 blocks around? And this is the kind of thing that we have to think about it. And this is not a rural area. This is a town that is growing, has a university, and there's a lot of urban amenities, public libraries, etc. So just to put an example. Then all this upgrading and strengthening of telecommunication system, electricity system. Now the question is, do we have the money to do that? Well, it is a political economy question, as you may understand. No, there is money when we put a priority on something. So if we put a priority that climate change is what is at stake, then we could say how we could distribute the money. Yes, we also have to economically be sound and project to grow, but we also have to know how to distribute. Have some more links with the whole national development plan, for example, and the national development plan include and mainstream also the climate change risk and impact. In terms of the library collections, we have to ask the right questions. You know, for example, if the library collections are located close to river that floods, if there is a high incidence of tropical storms, if the structure of library building is climate proof, is the libraries close to infrastructures prone to floods, like subways, for example. So a city like New York or other cities in the US, their transportation systems is essential that has to be retrofitted and upgraded, because probably as an indirect effect may spill over a flood in the subway system, in the libraries and other economic infrastructures. The municipal and public involvement in planning is very important, the coordination between the public involvement and municipal, and then to educate and be receptive to learn on the multidimensional impact of climate change. Also, we have to see that we have to approach that there are two major ways how to tackle climate change. It's adaptation and mitigation. The mitigation is to reduce the emissions in the atmosphere. For that, you have all the changes in the sources of energy, for example, from carbon-based to renewable base. So that's a long-term investment, that's a long-term goal to reduce the emissions, to reduce the carbon in the atmosphere. But the adaptation is what we have to do it now, because by the time we see the results of the mitigation, would be too late. And that's what we need, strategies and investment on adaptation also, in adaptation policies. Next one, please. In this case, for example, you could see the linkage of mitigation measures with adaptation. Some of the measures like sunshades, triple glazing, are measures that could be considered adaptation also. Is an easy way to reduce the sun entering in too much heat inside a building, which could be a library. At the same time, you are also, by using the sunshades, you are reducing the emissions that you could when you are using more electricity in your building, or you are using more air conditioning or more heating system. So the next one, please. So what we need is integrative responses. We need large-scale investment infrastructure, integrated policy efforts, and improve efficiency in what we are doing. Of course, this includes the production of reduction of waste in general, and doing more recycling, like in some countries in Europe are doing, or in Brazil, like the city of Curitiba, for example. And also, we need a building knowledge capacity base on water management in one case, and it could be also in other areas. We also need to facilitate access and share knowledge and information on the climate and water measures at different levels, as I was saying at the beginning. Thank you very much. I think the next one. Thank you.